I could give you the duct tape over here. So we have today an announcement about our 7th and 8th cases of COVID-19, both of which have overseas links, and 2 travellers recently arrived in New Zealand. The first is a man in his 60s who is visiting from Australia. He was tested in Australia prior to flying to New Zealand and has been now confirmed as positive by the Australian authorities. The man arrived in Wellington at 12:05 a.m. on Saturday morning, that was yesterday, the 14th of March, from Brisbane on Air New Zealand flight 828. That's flight number 828. And was informed, as we were, later that morning by his Australian doctor of his positive test. Our public health authorities here, of course, immediately kicked into action to find that person, make sure he was in self-isolation, and to identify and follow up any close contacts. The man is now symptom-free, however he remains in self-isolation with his partner and another family member. They are both well and working closely with public health staff. He does not require hospital level or other medical treatment. The 8th case is a woman in her 30s who is travelling in New Zealand. She is from Denmark, and she arrived in Auckland via Doha on the following flight number, QR920, that's QR920. She arrived on Tuesday the 10th of March and then flew from Auckland to Christchurch on the following flight, Jetstar flight JQ225, and that arrived at 8 a.m. in Christchurch on the 10th of March. She travelled with her family to Queenstown by private rental vehicle. The woman was unwell when she arrived in Queenstown and was hospitalised when she presented there. She has been cared for appropriately in isolation with full precautions. She is recovering well and planning is underway for her discharge. She will recover in self-isolation and be monitored daily by health services. The fact that both of today's cases relate to overseas visitors from countries that were previously outside the travel restrictions reinforces the significant wider border restrictions that were announced yesterday by the Prime Minister. COVID-19 is now present in well over 100 countries, many of which have community outbreaks. Reducing the flow of these people coming into New Zealand and ensuring that those who do arrive still are required to immediately self-isolate are essential frontline tools in our response in preventing wider outbreaks in New Zealand.